Today we are going to be setting a basic foothold trap. So the basic tools that you will need is a trapping shovel. Well, you can use any shovel, but this is just a trapping shovel. A stake, a hammer, and a sifter, and your trap. I'm going to be using a lever jaw today. So the first thing that you'll want to do is get your shovel. You kind of dig out a little area for your trap to go in. And that dot that you dig up, you want to put it in your sifter because you're going to be using that dot to sift over your trap when you're done. So you want to dig it a little bit bigger than your trap, but you want it to be a tight fit. So you want to also make room for your ears on your trap. These are the ears right here on a trap right there. Those are ears, so you want to make room for ears too. So you want to take a shovel and pack it all down like this. And it's just making the dart not loose, because if the dart is kind of like loose, if the animals feel the dart move underneath them, they'll know that something is wrong and run off and not get caught in the trap. So I'm just gonna make a little bit of room for the ears right here. And I'm just gonna kind of do that. Now I'm going to set my trap over here. So you want to I'm going to use my feet, but you can use your hands. Put your feet down there on the ears and push down like that, and the jaws will go down. Take this right here, put it over that jaw, and see that little piece there? It's curved. You want to put this piece here under that and lift this up a little bit to where it's like that, and it's barely set. So I'm just going to set it a little bit better. So you want to set it about like that. I'm going to take it over here. I might need to make this a little bit wider. So I'll make it a little bit wider real quick. Alright, that should be good. Alright, now it should fit. And you want to put it in there and kind of make sure it's like tight right in there. And then after you get it tightly in there, you'll want to stake it. Actually, you should stake it down in there before you put the trap in. So you'll want to stake it there. You can use your hammer. You don't need a hammer, but it's better if you have one. Use it to stake it down in there. You want to put the stake through that little hole there and hit it down until it's totally in the ground. And this wood is kind of soft, so a little bit easier for me to hammer it into the ground. I'm just going to kind of pack that down a little bit more. And now make sure it's tight, and they kind of wiggle it, make sure it won't wiggle around. Then you're going to take this dot here, since it's kind of going to come, so I'm going to use this to kind of chop it up. It's also good to have gloves like these, like rubber gloves, so your scent doesn't get over on the trap. And it's better if your trap is roasted up, so that the animal, like if it's brand new, the animal might smell it since it's brand new and not want to get close. So if it's roasted up, they can't smell it really. So that's better if they can't smell it. Right now I'm just going to try to sift it over. Maybe pack a little bit of the dot around the jaws. Like that kind of. Just make a little bit of a ring around it. And a ton of people think that foot traps are made, well, this is a foot trap. Foot traps are made to break animals' legs, but they're just made to hold them. And when I get it all covered up and all that, I'm going to stick my hand in it to show you that it's not made to break their bones or anything. And it doesn't hold them. And if it did hold it, I wouldn't be sticking my hand in the trap, so I'm going to do that in just a sec after I get it covered up. So just make a quick little ring around it, right here, but you want to be careful because that right there, if you step on this, this will go down and that will fall back this way and the jaws will come up. So be careful about packing it there because it might set off on your hands sometimes if you're not careful. But you just want to kind of sift it over the trap until it's kind of totally covered up. Gonna cover it up a little bit. I might try to drop some of this stuff down there. It's kind of hard, so I'm going to try to bake it up and then sift over. I'm going to try to cover that right there, so I'm going to keep my hand far away from it and do that. Take some of this dot around it and use it to sift over. Not really working. I'm gonna eat. And then after a little bit, it might get kind of stacked up on the pan, so if you get too much weight, I'll set it off. So every once in a while, you can use a stick or something, but I'm using a shovel. Just brush a little bit off like that. And after you get it covered up, right here, you'll want to dig a, it's not quite covered up. I'm gonna get some of this. You'll want to dig a hole like right up here above the trap. And that's where you're going to put your bait in. So, and then I'm also going to use some of this dot probably to sift up over since I don't have much dot. So you want it 4 to 10 inches deep, about. other things too, like the handles of like a shovel or a hammer, like that. Kind of pack it in. Now, I don't have any bait with me, so but you would put your bait down in there, so they would come up this way. And I'm gonna try to find the pan here. Alright, there's the pan. Alright, it doesn't hold it. Like, see, if it hold, I wouldn't be doing that. It doesn't hold it. It'll just hold the animal there. So, and after you're done, if you're in the woods doing this, and like you kind of kick the leaves out the way, you might want to take some leaves and put it back over where you're on your knees to kind of cover up that scent and where you wore. So, and that's pretty much how you set a foot trap. See you next time.